All right, we're going to learn about state today, okay? And state is actually a very simple concept. It sounds all computer sciencey, but really it isn't that like complicated. All right, all state is information. Your component has information, and the what it displays to the user will change based on that information. What I mean by that is, for example, when they click on the chocolate button, the ad should say chocolate. If they click on dark, the ad should have a dark theme rather than a light theme, right? So that is a state. Okay, so those variables, whether or not it's light or dark, what flavor of ice cream have they selected? What's the size of the font? Those are the state, okay, of the component, and React gives us the ability to change the state of a component with what are called hooks. All right, hooks are for functional components. Okay, remember that React has class components too. We're not learning those in this course. I will definitely teach you like how to work with them. Okay, but we're using functional components because that's the wave of the future. All right, think of a state as two parts. Okay, so uh, we have the state hook has two parts. It has a variable to track the state, meaning the value, and there is a function that is used to change the state. Okay, you're following a pattern. All right, so React is more functional, right? So it has a certain, pattern based on functional programming. So we're following that pattern. So what we are going to do is we're going to go ahead and create a hook. The first hook I'm going to create is to track which flavor the user has currently selected, chocolate, vanilla, or strawberry. Remember, the user clicks the chocolate button, then we have chocolate selected. Okay, the fact that we have chocolate selected is the state of this component. We're going to do const, and then we do a variable. It'll take two arguments. The first is going to be the variable to keep track of state. So we're going to call it flavor. Then we're going to name the function that is going to change this variable. We'll call it set flavor. So there's two parts. The flavor that the person has currently selected is going to be inside this flavor variable. The function that is going to change the flavor variable is called set flavor. Okay, and now here is the React part. We're going to use state. Okay, and as a function. All right, and we're going to have TypeScript come to the rescue. Now use state will set this up. It will say, cool, there's a variable called flavor, and the function that changes flavor will be called set flavor. We also can say, hey, what is the initial state of our app? All right, we're going to go ahead and call this a string, right? Chocolate, vanilla, strawberry, all strings. So I'm just going to say, okay, the initial flavor that they'll have selected is chocolate. All right, there's a lot to unpack here. Okay, this is the hook for state. So what it says is the add design component has a variable called flavor, and we're going to use this flavor variable to track did the person pick chocolate, vanilla, or strawberry. The function that we're going to use to change flavor is called set flavor. We're letting React know that this is part of the state, and we're also letting React know, hey, what's going to be the initial value? Your state needs to have an initial value most times because when the component comes into being, right, we're going to have a default. We're going to say, okay, cool, it starts off with chocolate. Okay, and that is what we decided. All right. You can even be more explicit about the type of the state. So, for example, I can put these two carets and put string here, meaning that this state is a string. It's not necessary to put this because, again, TypeScript can infer, okay, what is the actual value. So it says we used to put chocolate here as a string, then TypeScript says cool, it's a string. All right, so now you're maybe thinking, okay, Jonathan, like, what, like, I don't understand, like, how we actually use this. We did all this, like, typing and syntax, but what does this stuff mean? All right, let's go over here. And remember I told you about JSX, that we took JavaScript and HTML and we married them together. Here's what I mean by that. I would like you to type curly brackets and flavor here. Okay, so we just, and see how it lit up? This variable flavor is now going to be printed here, the value of flavor. And we use these curly brackets to do what's called templating. I'm going to put this variable and mix it in with the HTML. And so let's take a look and see what this actually looks like on the screen. Okay, you see where it says chocolate? Okay, so under what to support, it says chocolate. Okay, that's because the initial value of the flavor variable was chocolate. So let's go ahead, if we change it, so let's make the new default value vanilla. Okay, and let's go ahead and go back and we'll see what it's changed to. See how it says vanilla now? Okay, that's a variable. We've taken the variable and now we've put it and mixed it in with the HTML and we can display it. This is how we do dynamic data, because that variable can change, which means the UI can change, which means based on what they click, we can display different things. Play around with it for a little bit, set different default values, and you'll see that that flavor variable, okay, is the state. Okay, that's what I mean by state. Is it vanilla? Is it strawberry? Is it chocolate? That is state. The value is the state of the component. All right, we can do the same thing, okay, with color theme and font size. Okay, let's head back to the code. All right, we're gonna make hooks. Okay, these are called hooks. Okay, state hooks for the whether or not it's light. So I'm gonna do const array. I'm gonna call it is light. Set is light. Now you can name this what you want to. All right. Typically we use set for the verb for the method. But again, you can do whatever you want. Okay, this is supposed to be a Boolean, so we're gonna say okay, light is going to be true. So it's either light or it's dark. So we'll say okay, cool. At the beginning, it will be true for whether or not it's light. Then we'll do this for font size. Const. The variable will be font size. The method that will change this variable will be called set font size is equal to use state. And let's just say 24 because font size is a number. Now, I'm going to go ahead and for right now, we're going to replace this later. I'm going to just do p tags for each of them. So we'll do curly brackets flavor. Okay, curly brackets is light. And then curly brackets font size. All right, and let's go back and take a look at what we got. All right, and as you can see, we got vanilla and 24. Okay, let's go back and look at one thing. Okay, it's light, you stay true. Okay, cool. Could they get mixed up with something? Okay. Oh, I know. All right, we have to do with Booleans. You have to make them strings in order for them to be able to. So we're gonna put dot to string, lowercase t, Jonathan. All right, and that should allow us to see the value. All right. Let's see. Right there we go. Vanilla true. Okay, vanilla true 24. So now we can see the state of our component. Okay. So again, state. Okay, it's a variable. It describes the variable you need to know whose value could change, and then it could update the display of the UI. So right now, the state of my ad design, it says that flavor is vanilla, whether it's light is true, and font size is 24. All right, because I set those as the starting values. All right, so that is how we set up the state. Okay, now I want to change the state because obviously, like when the person clicks on chocolate, I'd like it to switch to chocolate rather than vanilla. All right, so how do we do that? Again, React hooks make this actually pretty simple. So first off, we're gonna go to the button. Okay, buttons have this thing called onClick. Notice how it will do onClick equals and then brackets. So again, this is back to the idea of we are doing this weird amalgamation of JavaScript and HTML all mixed together with each other. All right, cool. So when we do onClick, what do I want the computer to do? I would like it to run this function, set flavor. Okay. You're thinking, Jonathan, how is this a function? It's part of the setup. This is the variable. This is the function that changes the variable. Why? Because that is the way it is set up. So we're going to do set flavor. oops, we're going to do arrow function first, set flavor, and then we'll say chocolate. Okay, so we're going to do arrow, set flavor, chocolate. We're going to do the same thing for the other two. So we'll do this. Okay, we'll do vanilla. Okay, you are angry at me because I forgot the brace step. There we go. Cool. And then we'll do strawberry here. Okay, so onClick will take a function, okay, that will run set flavor, and then with whatever choice we want, vanilla, chocolate, strawberry, they're all strings. So remember, here's the cool thing. Set flavor, this function, takes in a string. So let's say I try to put something that's not a string in here. Okay, TypeScript will yell at you because set flavor takes in a string. Why? Because we put a string in over here. I like to make these explicit for other developers. Okay, so you could do like string, not necessary, but it does make things very, very obvious. Okay, and so here set flavor is a function. It takes in a string. Now you're wondering, like, where is this function actually written? It's set up using this use state. React does this for us as part of the framework. Trust in the framework. So now onClick means, hey, when this button is clicked, I want you to run the set flavor function with chocolate in it and update the UI accordingly. This is the power of React. So let's go ahead and try it out. Let's see if it works. So if I hit strawberry, see how the text changes strawberry? Chocolate, vanilla. Okay, try it a couple times. Click. See how it updates the state? That variable flavor updates, okay, when that function is run. So let's go through that again, because again, I don't expect you to get this on the first try. It's pretty, like, what is React doing? But this is how it's built. We have, okay, what's called a state hook. It's called useState. You do an array with two elements. The first element is the variable that will hold your state. The second element is the name of the function that will change your state. Then we will put in an initial value for the state. This part is optional. This part makes it so like, hey, this flavor is a string or is a Boolean. Okay, it's great for other developers to know what types they're dealing with. So that means that flavor is a string and set flavor is the function that will change flavor. Here on line 20, when I click the buttons, we have onClick equals curly braces. We have a function, and it says, okay, cool, set flavor. This is the function set flavor, takes in a parameter of a string, which is chocolate. That will update. Set flavor is by definition going to update the flavor variable. These two are tied to the hip. Okay, set flavor changes flavor. We have this function that's responsible for changing the state of the component. So that way, now the state can update based on what the user does. That way, when I go back, when I click on the strawberry button, now the flavor variable is now strawberry or vanilla or chocolate or whatever I want for it to be. I can do the same thing with the other ones. All right, so I'm going to take a second and do that real quick. Okay, so we're going to go down to light and dark. Okay, these are Booleans, but it doesn't really matter. We're going to do onClick. Okay, equals, curly brackets, arrow. Okay, and then we call this set is light to true. Okay, set is light to false. Okay, and we can now, for these bottom ones, okay, for font size, we're not setting it to a value. Okay, flavor is a string, so we're setting it to a string. Whether or not set is light, we're setting it to true or false. These ones, when I click this button, I want it to go up or down, right? So based on what it currently is. So for example, if the number is currently 24, I would like it to be 25 after I hit up. So we're still going to do onClick equals. Now the function I have for this is set font size. All right, so set font size. All right, then we're going to use our variable font size plus 1. Okay, that'll be for up, and then we'll do font size -1 for down. Okay, and also I want it to appear here, so I'm gonna do like well, we can do that in a second. We can do it now. Value equals font size. Okay, again, that wacky, like we're putting like variables inside the HTML. All right, so let's go ahead and see what this looks like. Okie doke, let's give it a shot. So let's interact with this. Okay, light, dark, light, dark. Dark is false, light is true. Hit up. See how the number goes up. Hit down, the number goes down. Okay, so React kind of like hooks everything up for us together. You could do this in vanilla JavaScript, it would just take a lot of code. React allows us to manipulate the state using these hooks. All right, now practice this for a little bit. It takes a second to get used to this syntax. There's a lot of, again, because we're using a framework, we're using like React, which is technically speaking a library, I should say. Like it comes with a lot of stuff out of the box, which means that you have to like understand like what the design is and follow their design. So you would do that with Angular, you would do that with Vue.js. You would basically be learning how they solve certain problems. All right, so practice this a little bit and like interact with it so you can see how everything is working together, right? The variable that holds the state, the function that changes the state, creating the hook, you doing on click on a button. All of these things kind of relate together. So it's going to take a little while of practice and just like playing with stuff so you can see how everything like moves together. Okay, give this a shot and play around with it.